Let's see if we can finish the cross-site scripting room that we started yesterday. And yesterday we left off, or we finished the video at DOM-based XSS, and today we're going to start at the blind XSS. Fellas, tell me if there's any background noise, because I might be able to reduce it. So let me know in the comments below. Now, blind XSS is similar to a stored XSS, which we covered in task 4, in that your payload gets stored on the website for another user to view. But, and this is the big but, in this instance you can't see the payload working or be able to test it against yourself first. So here's an example scenario. A website has a contact form where you can message a member of staff. The message content doesn't get checked for any malicious code, which allows the attacker to enter anything they wish. These messages then get turned into support tickets, which staff view on a private web portal. Now, the potential impact is that the attacker's JavaScript could make calls back to an attacker's website, revealing the staff portal URL, the staff members' cookies, and so on and so forth, and all the potential impacts that XSS has, as we've seen in previous video. Now, how to test for blind XSS. So when testing for blind XSS vulnerabilities, you need to ensure your payload has a callback. This way you know if and when, most specifically, your code is being executed. A popular tool for blind XSS is this one. Well, in my earlier attempts a couple of months and years ago to actually actively look for XSS, and those were just attempts because, as I said, I don't like XSS and I don't look for it, is XSS Hunter, and I think I've used it once. Although it's possible to make your own tool in JavaScript, this tool will automatically capture cookies, URLs, page contents, and more. What tools can you use for testing blind XSS Hunter? What type of XSS is very similar to blind XSS? Is it the stored XSS? Now, task number 7. So we've moved fast to task number 6, through task number 6. If you're someone who's actually wanting to learn more about XSS, probably check out Portswigger's Academy. Perfecting your payload. The payload is the JavaScript code, and the machine is started, I believe. We want to execute. So we've talked about what payload is previously. Your payload could have many intentions, from just bringing up a JavaScript alert box to prove we can execute JavaScript on the target, to extracting information from the web page or user's session. How your JavaScript payload gets reflected in a target's website code will determine the payload you need to use. Now, I've started the machine, and now we have this one up and running. The aim for each level will be to execute the JavaScript alert function with the string thm, for example. In this case, level 1. I'm just gonna copy paste this because I'm lazy. And I should probably prevent Bitdefender to mess up with my video here. You're presented with a form asking you to enter your name, and once you've entered your name, it will be presented on a line below. So if you view the page source and we look for thm, we can see the script alert beautifully being executed here without any input sanitization. Level 2. Like the previous level, you're being asked again to enter your name. This time when clicking enter, your name is being reflected in an input tag instead. Therefore, in this situation, since your name is reflected here in the value, we have the closed parentheses. Let's actually do it. Go to level 2. Again, I have to say that I have the biggest disregard for XSS. The biggest sort of like unlike. We can see that our atom is reflected over here. Now, to execute this XSS, we can see we have the payload atom in the value. So what we're actually going to do is when we do our input first, since we have the atom value here, we would be closing the double quotes here ourselves, and then, so let's actually do it, it was here, and then actually close also the value, of course. So we're actually going to close that as well. We're going to do it ourselves instead of letting it do it, and then we're actually going to do the script confirm one script. Let's see if this works. Yes, so it works. And they explain here that the important part of the payload is this, which actually closes the value parameter and closes the input tag in this situation, as you can see here. Now when you click the enter button, you'll get an alert pop up. We've seen that. Level 3. Let's just go to level 3. Why? Because we need to alert instead of confirm. Let's make sure that Bitdefender doesn't mess up with our situation here. Let's also just we need to copy this payload, so we need to be very diligent. Wait for a little bit more time. Level 3, you're presented with another form asking for your name, and the same as the previous level. Your name gets reflected inside the HTML tag, this time the text area. So we'll have to escape the text area tag. So first off, you have to escape the text area tag and then load your script, which is why it's really important. Let's go straight to number 1. What was it? Was it just script alert? Why is it taking so much time to confirm the payload? I wonder. 10.10.227.124. .10, so it's not dot 10.227.124.p.thm.labs.com. We should have no interference here, so we need to do the script alert thm, close that, close the script, and then do it. Then it's interesting. It's the same thing here. They're confirming their payload. Regardless, in level, where was it? Level 3, we need to close the text area, and then we need to load our script. In level 4, entering your name in the form, you'll see it reflected on the page. This level looks similar to level 1, but upon inspecting the page source, you'll see your name gets reflected in some JavaScript code. So in this situation, what we need to do is you'll have to escape the existing JavaScript command so you're able to run your code. You can do this with the following payload, which you'll see from the below screenshot. So first off, you need to escape, so get out of the name by actually closing it with a single colon. Then you actually do the semicolon, and then you proceed with another JavaScript function here, which is alert. And they actually explain that it's exactly what I said: closes the field specifying the name, then signifies the end of the current command, then you're actually doing the alert function, and then you're specifying that everything after these comments, everything after these forward slashes, double forward slashes, is actually going to be a comment. Now when you click the enter button, you'll get an alert pop-up with the string THM, because that's exactly what should happen. Level 5. This level looks the same as level 1, and your name also gets reflected in the same place. But if you try this thing, it won't work. When you view the page source, you'll see why, because this is exactly what happens. It actually strips the word script. So the word script gets removed from your payload. That's because there is probably a filter that strips out any potential dangerous words. Now, another trick up on the sleeve of the penetration tester here, there's this thing that you can do. If they actually check for only for the first script, they're actually stripping the script. If you do the original payload, for example, like this one, script, they are actually going to remove the script from here, but then they're not actually going to check for the second script, which is actually what happens when you strip this. You remain, or you're left with another script, and the final payload is this one. So entering this manually crafted payload after you manually analyze how everything gets reflected, you'll get up your glorified pop-up alert. Now level 6, similar to level 2 where you had to escape from the value attribute of an input tag, you can try this thing, but it won't work because you're stripping the close and open characters here, so they get filtered out. Now in this situation, this prevents you from escaping the image tag. To get around the filter, we can take advantage of the additional attributes of the image tag, in this case such as onload and event. So in this situation, when you are inside an image tag, you can just do this thing like /images.cat, then you're actually closing the double quotes, you're actually closing the source where you want your image to be loaded, and you're adding another, in this situation you're adding another parameter to the image tag, which is onload, and the onload is going to execute the JavaScript code in this situation. Now when you click the enter button, you'll get an alert pop up with the string THM, and then you'll get a confirmation message that your payload was successful, blah blah blah. What is the flag you receive from level 6? Well, what is that we can actually do here? Because we do not have access, this thing doesn't work anymore. So let me actually see if I can just sort of like reset the machine maybe. I should probably reset the machine. Terminate the machine. Then I'm going to actually start the machine one more time. Hopefully it's gonna work. Start the attack box. Or the machine. No, I need to actually terminate this machine and then start it all over again. Let's just refresh this page. we need to start the machine or the attack box. Okay, we're actually gonna wait. Now, let's actually see what happens, or we can just copy paste it from a write-up somewhere. Do we have any write-ups for this room? There are no write-ups. Cross-site script syst cross-site scripting. Try hack me. Walkthrough write-up. Thank you, Kumar, for being of service and actually saving us some time here. Where would it be? Is Kumar gonna help us? Maybe not. Kumar doesn't help us. Or yes, so let's look for another one. Maybe it works. So what was the first one? The first one, you need to input script alert thm. Maybe it works this time and we don't have to go through write-ups. Okay. Come on, dude, work. Work, 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 work. Meanwhile, we're looking for work here. It was task 6. This isn't helpful either. So this still doesn't work. What if we stop the protection for a little bit? We stop these ones. Anti-spam XSS payload failed. Alright, maybe it works by actually terminating. Don't do this at home. Do not stop your antivirus or whatever sort of online protection mechanism you have just to complete some sort of a challenge on some sort of a site. So in this situation, we're closing the text area, we're doing the script thing as I've explained previously. Now go to level 4. In this situation, we need to close the name as I previously said. Go to level 5. On level 5, we need to remove the first script, actually do double scripting, and then we proceed to level 6. We need to specify an image URL, images.cat, close it, and then use another parameter argument, onload, and there you go, thm XSS master. Could I have guessed it? Maybe I could have. Practical example, blind XSS number 6. How are we running with the time here? 19 minutes. The question is, can we finish this? So we need to start this machine, but we need to terminate that one. So therefore, let's try and see if we can actually refresh this. One more time. Start the machine. Blind XSS. It's not running, dude. So is it started? That's the question. Is it the same thing? It could have been the same thing. Click on the Customers tab on the top navigation. So there isn't no customer. I think I've terminated the machine, right? No, I did not terminate the machine. Now I terminated the machine, and now I should start this other machine, right? Terminate that one. I've actually terminated the attack box. I don't even know how this try hackney works. Alright, your payload could have many intentions, from just bringing up a JavaScript alert box we can execute to extracting information from the website. How your JavaScript payload gets reflected in a target's website will determine the payload you use. That's the one we did, dude. Oh my god, I'm getting headaches. For the last task, we're going to go over a blind XSS vulnerability. Make sure you terminate the previous machine. I've been trying to do that for the last 5 minutes. Click on the Customers tab on the top navigation and then sign up here. So we'll probably see that in 45 seconds. Once we have an account, we need to click the support tickets. Try creating a support ticket by clicking the green Create Ticket button. Enter the subject and content of just the word, and then click the blue Create Ticket button. Alright, we'll do that when we get there, which is in 25 seconds. So what do we need to do in this situation? See if we can run JavaScript and confirm that the ticket creation feature is vulnerable to an XSS attack. Try new ticket with the following payload, this one. Now, when you view the ticket, you should get an alert box with the string. We're going to now expand the payload even further and increase the vulnerabilities' impact. So let's go to the customers area, then sign up with our Christy at Christy, then Christy, then Christy. Alright, what do we need to go and do thereafter? We need to click the support tickets tab, and then what we need to do, try creating a support ticket by clicking on this one. We need to say enter the subject, so we need to say test, and then create. You'll now notice your new ticket with an ID number, which you can click to create to take you to your newly created ticket. Like task 3, we will investigate how the previously entered task gets reflected. So we click on the ID, we view the page source, we check for test, and we can see that we have in the text area over there. That's exactly what we're seeing. That's how it gets reflected in the text area. So let's see if we can escape the text area by entering the following payload. So you're actually terminating the text area. We're actually creating another ticket, terminating the text area, and then saying test. Let's actually do that for both of them. Why not just create a ticket with text area and say H3, H1 maybe, and then another H1. one that's closed. And as you can see, the subject is the vulnerable thingy. We'll do this one, so we're actually doing as being instructed with this actual payload. Create another ticket, subject, I understand the risk, and there you have it. The payload has been executed, and if we go every time, so this is a stored XSS. Every time we go into the ticket where actually the XSS is being executed. Some helpful information to extract from another user would be their cookies. So if you're connected to this VPN, you can set up a listener using netgap. Where exactly should I set up the listener? 1, 2, you can also use the try-hack-me catcher. So in this situation, we need to actually start the attack box one more time, and this is getting way too long. It's gonna take some time until it starts the attack box. It's gonna take roughly 2 minutes. What is it that we have to do afterwards? Now that you've decided on the method of receiving the exfiltrated information, let's build the payload. So this is gonna be our payload with the URL or the IP. Alright, so what is the URL or IP? In this situation, you can use the try-hack-me request catcher. This service provides a unique URL that receives and displays HTTP and DNS requests made to it. So in this situation, is that the IP they're actually wanting us to HTTP 10.10.10.100? Maybe. We'll see once this machine has been loaded. And I was thinking about actually pausing this video, but it's only 43 seconds and we are 27 minutes in the video. If this doesn't succeed, let's actually look for, what is it that we're looking for? We're looking for cross-site scripting try-hack-me walkthrough. 15, 14, let's do the countdown together. We also need to go to base 64 encode decode to actually encode the payload. We need to create another ticket using that specific payload. So we're saying create a ticket. Alright, let's see. The attack box has been started. We need to go to HTTP 10.10.10.100, create session. This is a request catcher. Now what we need to do, we need to just copy this, I believe, Control C, and then we need to go to our machine, which is at 10 dot, not dot, but 1098 38.p.thm.labs.com. Alright, we need to go to customers. We need to log in, go to support tickets, and then create another ticket with the payload that is closing the text area, then we do the script. Let's just paste it over here, for example. We need to paste that thing from there into here, I believe. No, because it says cookie, so it's not okay. We need the URL or the IP maybe of the machine. Let's see if it works. Copy that. And then look at the thing. There's nothing in there, so we go back to support tickets, create another ticket. We need the URL or the IP of what? The URL of the IP is either the THM requests catcher URL or your IP address from the THM attack box or your IP address on the THM VPN. So it's either the THM request catcher URL. So in this situation, it's, what was it? Let's just build the cookie one more time. Not the cookie, but the payload. Build the payload one more time. So in this situation, we need to say 10.10.10.100, which is the URL of the THM catcher. Alright, let's try that. Look at it. Alright, you can now base 64 decode this info. Now you can create another ticket using the above payload. Make sure to swap up the URL or IP. Make sure to specify the port number as well. So it says that we should actually create a listener. I'm acting like a freaking kid here. So where's our terminal? Let's actually look at our IP at DDR. Let's actually look at our if config. Our IP address is 10.10.16.243. Now in this situation, we are gonna set up an LVP to port 9002. And then in this situation, we need to build our payload in the following way. So copy this. What was our it was 10.10.16 10.10.16.2439002. Okay, you can now base 64 decode this information. We do not need to do that just as of now. We can also look at the request catcher. There hasn't been any request here, has it? It hasn't. There hasn't been any request. Now, if we create another support ticket with that, we should be looking also at what happens in here. This is the cookie that we need to base 64 decode, Control Shift C. Then we copy it from there, base 64 decode. So it seems like after all we didn't actually have to look into the walkthrough. Let's see if it is correct. It says it's not correct. What is the value of the staff session cookie? Is it like that? Staff session cookie. That's the value, right? Is there any staff session here? There's no staff session because it said admin false, right? What is it that I'm missing? Encodes the victims as cookie. Now create another ticket using the above payload. Make sure to swap your URL. Now wait up to a minute, you'll see a request come through containing the victims as cookie. And that's it, right? You can decode this information using the site, giving you the necessary information. Maybe it was session equals. Answer is incorrect. So after all, we need to look into the walkthrough. Let's see. Probably not that one. This isn't helpful, of course. Alright. Session equals to this one. Admin equals false. Is that the one? Admin equals false? Now let me pause this video for a minute and figure everything out. Okay, for some reason something seems to be interfering with my setup. I tried this like a couple of times to actually get the request. I wasn't able to get the request even if I started even if I started a netcat listener. So what I just did, I don't know why this doesn't work. I just inputted the staff session cookie from a wide write up, and this is one of the reasons for which I do not enjoy doing XSS. Now let's actually see what's going to happen with the rest of the rooms in the next videos. So right now we finished with the cross-site scripting, and then we're actually going into command injection. So that seems interesting. And with that said, that's it for this video.